Hey, welcome to the Lifestyle Faith Podcast with Pastor Shane. I'm Pastor Scott. Pastor Shane.
Hey, man.
How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
Super bien.
You buy that?
I do buy it. I buy it. Absolutely.
No, I am. I'm doing
Yeah.
good. I have to tell you, about an hour ago, I was dragging.
Yeah.
And I have gotten no coffee.
Yeah.
But I have a second wind. And
Man. Well, what did you do? What?
I don't know. It's just, I love life.
Yes.
And I love Lifestyle Faith Podcast.
So an insight that you need to know. We just recorded an episode previous to this,
Yep.
and we were both dragging when we came to that, and we're both like, yeah, we're here. We are warmed up. We're ready to roll.
I'm also anticipating tacos for lunch, and so that just perked me up.
Tacos.
Yeah.
I wonder if can we plug our local restaurant? We should. We probably
should.
shouldn't, but we will one of these days.
Yeah, one of these.
I'm gonna get permission.
Maybe we'll do our podcast
from there
on location.
We're coming for you. You know who you
Taco
are.
Tuesday.
We're coming for you. It's gonna be great. The weather's changing, Pastor Shane.
Oh, I love it. This is my time of the year.
Yeah. So little
Crisp in the air.
crisp in the air. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually put a jacket on
Yeah.
yesterday, maybe day before. Although it's rained here for the last, starting to build an ark in my backyard.
Yeah.
But it was just, I love it.
It's gorgeous.
Leaves are falling.
So you have a fireplace in your house. I don't have a fireplace.
We've used it twice. Now that's primarily my daughter just is always cold. And so she turns it. I don't know that I would have done that. But.
Right. So I got to know, do you have a Christmas tree up yet?
Well, I will tell you this. I have already made a few visits to Hobby Lobby. Because we are on the same page.
Yeah.
And they have the Christmas stuff up, and I just strolled through the Christmas.
Do they have like the scented, like the alpine scent going in the air? And
yeah, you can buy these little stick things that you.
Oh yeah, Melissa's gotten those before.
So it's I'm full on. I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Things are kicking, even around the church. I'm starting to feel, I heard Christmas Wonderland rehearsal yesterday, and I heard Christmas music, and I'm like, this is my time, man.
Yeah, so speaking of Christmas, and speaking of special guests, we have a very special guest with us today.
Excited, yeah.
Who's that? Hey, Pastor Dan's here.
Who's our special guest?
Hey.
It's Pastor Dan.
Pastor Dan, welcome to the Lifestyle Faith Podcast.
Thank you. It's so good to be here. This is fun.
So you, this is your most busy time, and you took time out of your schedule to come and hang out in Pastor Shane's living room.
Wonderful time.
Look at that. That's all saying.
Yeah, let's. Great to have you here with us, and I'm sure right now is an insane time for you. What does your days look like right now?
Yeah, it's so interesting because when we get into this creation of Christmas Wonderland, I'm just pulled in so many different directions, like so many different groups and teams of details that are needing answers. And so, that's what just kind of like, it's not just focusing on one thing, you're just pulled a lot of different directions. So that's where you go a little crazy, but it's fun. It's fun. Good people.
Well, and there are just so many people involved in CW. Pastor Dan, I'm sure, has an exact number, but there are just so many people. I see it just constantly. I saw it last night. I mean, it's alive and moving. And I love that feeling. I love that feeling every time, this time of the year. Usually I can start to smell the lumber, the construction, and I know, I mean, without even, we could, I wouldn't even know what time of the year it was. I would know, it's CW time.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah. And I love that. I love that whole atmosphere that it creates in the church.
Yeah. I'm sure construction workers have that smell just ingrained in them. But for me, I'm the same way. When I smell lumber, I think of it's time for Christmas Wonderland production. So it's a great thing.
It is cool.
Yeah. So we've been throwing that acronym around. The CW acronym, Christmas Wonderland, is coming up. Why don't you tell us about what is Christmas Wonderland? What are we doing here?
Yeah, for those that may not know what Christmas Wonderland is, at least in our context, we've been doing this ministry for 35 years. Yeah. It goes way back. And it basically is a Broadway-style musical that we do with excellence, with all volunteers, that we use as a gift to our community, really for people that it really is designed for people that don't attend church, aren't connected to church, really as a way to invite them to come to something that's fun, that's lighthearted, but yet has a great gospel message. So it's just been fun to do something creative, different than a lot of churches do, a dramatical Broadway style production. That's really what Christmas Wonderland is, and it's grown here at Christian Life Assembly. I think back in the day, it was very successful. We in our previous sanctuary that seated about 800 people, and people would wait in line to get their tickets. And now we're in a much larger facility, and we still do 8 performances and sell out pretty much. So it's been a great event.
So we talk about CW being one of the largest outreach events that we do. So I know you just mentioned there's an invitational message at the end, but why don't you talk about that just a bit?
Yeah, we call it an outreach, and we really have the goal and the purpose for bringing people in that wouldn't normally maybe come for whatever reason to a Sunday service. We feel like it's a great invite for our people that when they go to work or school, that they can say, hey, we're doing a Christmas show at our church. We'd love to get you tickets and bring you, and with the hope that they'll come and they'll enjoy. There's just a lot of fun. There's a lot of music, dance, but it is the gospel message. And Jesus taught in parables, right? So it's just a visual, another way of just expressing the gospel message through a visual expression and music and the arts. So it really is intended for people, for our church people, our members to invite their friends, their neighbors, their coworkers, because we've seen a lot of people that come in to Christmas Wonderland. They come into a performance, and for some, they may not have a church home, and they say, well, I'm going to go check that church out on a Sunday, and they get connected. So it's just been a great outreach, I think, for our church, but mostly for the kingdom of God.
And as a pastor, I love it. Yeah. I mean, it accomplishes multiple things. It gives literally hundreds of people an opportunity to serve. Mm-hmm. So they are able to deploy their gifts. Yeah. It gives the entire church and the community an opportunity to invite some, as Pastor Dan said, maybe someone that would normally not come to church, but they would love to come see a Christmas production. Mm-hmm. And so it gives our church people an opportunity to invite their friends and I use this word without apology, in a safe way. Sure. Sometimes inviting somebody to church, they're just not sure what they're gonna encounter, mm-hmm. and so and then the third thing, obviously, and Pastor Dan hit on it. We talk about Jesus.
Absolutely.
It's a gospel presentation with an opportunity for people to come to know Christ, and I just love and then I'll brag on Pastor Dan and the team, and it's done with excellence. Yeah. I mean, it's top shelf. It is. Absolutely. It's just incredible quality. So you can invite someone, you can bring someone and know they're not going to see, I don't know. I was in a few third grade school productions before. It's not like that.
With bathrobes.
Yes. I mean, this is high quality, well done. And so we do it with excellence, but we do it with excellence so that the gospel will be presented.
Yeah. Well, and thank you for that. But and we've talked about this before. I mean, we live in a day and age where there's a lot of people in our community that, for whatever reason, maybe there's been some church hurt, or there's just some reason that they are a little hesitant to step into a Sunday church service. Right. For whatever reason, sure. and they may have a preconceived notion of what that service is going to be, or maybe they just don't feel like they don't belong there. But like you said, it's just an easy ask to say, hey, come, and there's going to be Christmas music and dance, and it's just a lighthearted way, and they get to know Pastor Shane, and they get to know us as a church, and it just says, hey, this Jesus, this church thing is not frightening. It's cool. It's a place I want to be.
Yeah, and hopefully they do see that, and they're welcomed by people that love the Lord and love them, and we're just trying to. This is what we do. We do this 52 weeks a year. It may not look like Christmas Wonderland, but we get together and we love the Lord and we love one another. We're not perfect. And you're right, Pastor Dan. So many people have had some negative experience with church, and we're all on the same journey. We're just trying to figure this out and let the Lord work in our life. And I tell people, often new people will come, oh, I just love the church. And I'm like, well, just give me a little time. Like eventually you'll see something, we all have bumps and bruises. And so we're not perfect, but thank God he's working in all of us. And so, but I think Christmas Wonderland is a way to maybe sort of take the whatever negative or whatever difficult experience, just kind of take that away and come into a safe environment and have a great evening with friends and family. And then it's just, it's awesome.
Yeah. We tell people, hey, just get your friends, take them out to dinner before or after, and just make it an evening, a relaxed evening.
It's a fun time. Every night that I go and I open up the production and close them, and I'll walk out and look at a room full of people, thousands of people in the room, and they are just laughing and smiling. I mean, it's just a great moment. It feels so good. And it's awesome.
That's so good. We want to unpack a few things that we've talked about. So the Pastor Shane, you mentioned that this gives an opportunity for hundreds of people to deploy their spiritual gifts and to be able to be used. Pastor Dan, I don't know if you want to talk about the number of people that are involved here at CLA. And what it's taken to.
Yeah, it's hard to put a really accurate count because there are so many people doing so many things. We've kind of guesstimated around 450 people engaged in a run of Christmas Wonderland. Because you think about, I mean, it's everywhere from the actors and singers and stage crew to the set construction people, the people that paint, the people that sew costumes or help with costuming, or then there's people that help us feed the cast and crew with food, and there's our ushers and our greeters and people that take care of kids during. I mean, it's just it's an army of people.
It's endless.
Yeah, but the cool thing is when you think about it, and this happens in regular church life as well. But I think something like Christmas Wonderland just expands the opportunity for people to use gifting. It's like where else could a woman who can use a sewing machine, or a guy that's an art, can draw or paint, or somebody that works well with wood. All these giftings come together, and this is just a great way for people that would maybe normally sit in a pew and be a part of a church, but not. You've got your worship teams, you got your teachers in your regular church services, but these are people that now they get to use what they're good at. And maybe it's cooking, maybe it's like I said. Sewing costumes. So that part is just really cool to see. People that wouldn't normally be engaged are just totally engaged in our church culture and become a part of our church, and they feel like they belong here. They're invested in the ministry. So that's always amazing to see, always very cool to see, in addition to people that are on stage, the 100 cast members or so.
And they become great friends. Like I said, you probably see it more than I do, Pastor Dan, but I see at the end, I mean, there's tears, they've spent countless hours, for months in the time commitment that I, as a pastor, I am always overwhelmed at the level of time commitment that they give to this. And then when they leave, I mean,
there's a grieving process.
I remember growing up, I would go to church camp every year, like youth camp. It was the highlight of my life. And then by Friday night, we're all just we're singing "Friends Are Friends Forever" by Michael W. Smith, right? And we're all crying. And so, but it has that feel to it. Now, these people are probably going to see each other the next Sunday at church, but that camaraderie. And I say to people often, we're in a larger church. You've got to find community. You've got to find a smaller way to get connected. And I don't know that there's a better way that happens at CLA than through Christmas Wonderland. There's 450 people that become incredibly close, and maybe it's in their teams of whatever area they volunteer around. But I mean, there's deep friendships.
Yeah, they really do continue. They continue on in friendship groups and unofficial small groups. And I've officiated several weddings of people that met in Christmas Wonderland. So it's a great way to connect.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
it's common that when we're out in the community, Heidi and I or the kids, somebody will stop and say, "Hey, Pastor," and they don't talk about my sermons. They're like, "We come to your Christmas for like." Sometimes they're nice, but sometimes they do. But it is now, after 35 years, it's made a mark and a footprint in our community. But they always speak of it so fondly, and they have family memories. We used to bring our kids every year, and now it's just such a great. It's just such a great part of the church, and I think now, as you said it earlier, Pastor Dan, it's a gift to the community.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm just thinking of this. When you said bringing family, we had a young girl. She's probably around 8 or so back when I was here years ago, probably 20 years ago, that did a little solo in Christmas Wonderland, and she had just a cute little girl, had a great voice. She's now one of our main worship leaders. Yeah, it's just really cool to see. Yeah.
I know. Yeah. It's yeah, and the people that are they're just so gifted and so talented, and I'm proud of our church. Sure. I'm proud of our church. I'm absolutely. proud of the people that are involved in it, and it just it makes me, as a pastor, it makes me smile.
Yeah. Well, we talk about the spiritual impact within the show. You know, the thousands of people that come and they hear the gospel. I think it's probably equally as important the spiritual impact that of the cast.
Right.
They're changed through this process as well.
Well, exactly. And we were talking about the community it creates, and I've talked with our team leaders, and we look at it more as just getting tasks done. We really talk to each leader about ministering as the guys come in to build, or the team comes in to do costuming. They take time to talk through what's going on in their lives and minister to one another. Sure. And I've seen over and over again people that may be a little bit on the outskirts. They invest their time, and they're around good, solid Christians who have been Christians for many years that they can come alongside and there's some mentoring that happens. I've seen that just over and over again. Yeah. So I've had one woman, that I don't think she ever really gave her heart to Christ. She'd been connected to church some, but hadn't really made that decision, and decided. She got invited to come and help, I think, on a prop team years ago. And it was actually not Christmas. I think it was an Easter production we were doing. And she, just being a part of that, and in that instance, we were telling the story of Jesus coming to earth and giving his life and she watched that just from that perspective of working with our props. And by the end of it, gave her life to Jesus, and it just changed her life. And she still attends this church to this day. So it just can be a powerful tool. And I explain this to our teams as we start the process. Hey, it's not just about the people that attend. It's about the ministry that happens among us. So as we're going through rehearsals, or as you're building or painting, just reach out to the people around you, because you don't know what's going on in their lives, and a lot of them are hurting, and there's just a lot of ministry that takes place, and that's just a beautiful thing, right?
Well, and I see that, and that's very intentional, I know, on Pastor Dan's part. Like before each performance, I'll go in, and sometimes Pastor Dan prays for the team, sometimes I do, but I mean, there's worship. The cast will begin to worship half hour, 45 minutes before. So they're stepping onto this stage, not to be seen, but to make him known. And you can just feel it. It's just a powerful atmosphere and environment behind the scenes. And it's great to see, you get that many very talented people together, and they have a lot of gifts to offer, and to see them do it in a way that of humility and just service to the Lord. It's a great thing to see. Not everybody gets to see the behind the scenes part of that, but
So there may be a pastor that's tuned in. Maybe somebody shared this with them. And I think one of the major benefits of a ministry like a drama ministry is it's the spiritual impact that has on those individuals that are there. Huge thing. But if you are a church and you are just thinking about starting a drama ministry, how does this even happen? Where do we even begin?
Yeah, and I've seen I know people look at us. We've done this 35 years. We're in a big sanctuary, so it's big, and we've got teams in place. And I'm sure people would look at it and go, "I don't even want to attempt that." It just looks like so much work, and it is. But I got to tell you, back years ago, I went to a small town on staff at a small church in Texas, in the middle of nowhere, and God's given me this gift to do this. So I thought, we're just going to do it here. And we used the junior high school stage, and I just found somebody in the congregation who could sew. I found somebody who could build, and we put on a production. And
that's awesome.
That church was so. By the end of it, they were just like, "Look what God did with our talents." And again, it wasn't probably the most perfect thing, but they were proud of it. It brought that church together. It brought people together. So it doesn't have to be Broadway style quality at first. You just got to start, and you just start, and people will step forward when they believe in the vision and the mission that you're doing. If you set that and say, "Hey, this is about reaching people," and with the message of Jesus, believers will come and they'll give up their time into something worthwhile like that. And it's just amazing to see how, we know it because it's scriptural, right? That God's gifted everybody in a community with different gifts, and they're sitting there, and it's just a matter of like, hey, let's get these gifts working together for a common good. And it's amazing to see.
I know there's a lot of really talented people at CLA, but I also know that God has given talent to churches all across America.
And everyone has something to offer. Everyone has a gift.
Yep.
And I would encourage pastors that are listening, or leaders, to just think of, and whether it's drama, it may be something else, but think of creative ways to tap into. I'm always thinking of the person that, as Pastor Dan alluded to, maybe they don't teach, maybe they, don't have what are the obvious, sometimes needed gifts in a church, but how can God put something in them. God put a gift in their life. You've got to give them opportunity to walk that out. And and something like a drama ministry, something like Christmas Wonderland just does it in so many different ways, from cooking to building to painting to hospitality. It's just amazing. So,
we're sitting in this beautiful soundstage, which I hope I just didn't give that away, because people think, is this your living room?
They think it's my living room.
This is Pastor Shane's living room, Pastor Dan.
Yeah.
Well, I know, but
and we just happen to have microphones in my living room.
But look at the people's giftings that decorated this, that painted it, that staged it. It's just, it's like they were able to use giftings that back in my mom and dad's church, they probably didn't get to use a lot of that stuff. It was just
right. And I think it's up to us leaders and pastors and church, find ways, create ministries to let people develop and deploy their gifts. And listen, if you want to start a drama ministry after Christmas, Pastor Dan will have so much free time.
Well, not right after Christmas, because we're doing Easter.
Oh, that's right.
So maybe somewhere around June.
Yeah, there you go, June.
You've got a short window between June and July 31st.
And I'm teasing, he hasn't zero downtime. We go right into, from Christmas, we go right into Easter Easter production, and it is just a massive. I think we take. I say we, Pastor Dan and his team, they do all the hard work. I think they take a few deep breaths, and then they just start over.
Yeah, so. Easter's early this year, so it's going to be a quick turnaround. But we don't do that every year here at CLA. We do it every other year. But
I don't think we could keep the pace of every year.
It's a lot.
And so we rotate that. But
so speaking of contacting you, Pastor Dan, I know that there may be churches that want to reach, and it's. We absolutely encourage people to reach out to us, and
absolutely
we're gonna put some links in the show notes for this. But CLA.Productions.com is the drama ministry,
and that's just a quick way to get right to our drama pages on our CLA.Camphill.com website. CLA
that's one of the core values of our church. We just believe in giving it away.
Yep.
God has blessed us with ideas and creativity and all of those things, and more than likely someone gave it away to us, and so we're just trying to pass this on. And so whether that's drama ministry or anything that someone might see that we do or produce in our church, contact us. We just want to build the kingdom. We want to build the church of Jesus Christ, and any way we can fan the flame of the gift of God in your life and your ministry, your church. We want to do that.
Absolutely. That's our heart.
It is.
That's where we're at.
Yep.
So Pastor Dan, thank you for being with us today in the middle of Christmas Wonderland.
Yeah. That's great.
Where can they find tickets?
Busy schedule already for sure.
So tickets are right now, they're actually available to groups of 20 or more. We give them a little bit of head start so they can sit together. So that's available right now. And then October 22nd, tickets will be open to the public. They're all online at CLA.productions.com. There's a phone number you can put on the screen if we would like to call. But
are they all tickets online now, or can they get them in?
I mean, most people do it online. They can call or come to the church on Sundays. Our Sundays, and then Monday through Wednesday, we have people at the ticket office.
So, Pastor Scott, you don't have to camp out the night.
I don't have to in a tent and a sleeping bag.
Yes.
He's going to be up in the booth. That's where he lives.
That's right. It's amazing how there's hardly anyone on the staff, the team that they don't have some role or some capacity.
They can't sit through it and enjoy it. They have to work.
I don't know if I've ever actually sat through a CW. I've always been working.
You've been working.
Same with you.
And we do sell tickets to this. And there's been times, that some churches will do these for free, and that's great. We just found that people were more likely to come if there's a value attached to it. So they're very inexpensive comparatively to any other show that you'd go to. So $15, $10.
I'm glad you mentioned that. And we're unapologetic about it because and I think when you come and see the quality of it, it makes sense. Like you understand. And so, but it adds value. And there was a time when people would take, in the early days of this, they would take 25 tickets and only 2 people would show up, and you have massive sections of the sanctuary that are open, and we just have such a demand for it now. I mean, this is to the glory and honor of the Lord, but pretty much every Christmas Wonderland is sold out, and so that's to the glory of the Lord. But you understand the organization and the planning that takes place to get that many people in. So.
Right, and we do offer different price tickets so that just if there are people that have either a large family or we want to make sure everybody can
nobody
be there.
gets turned away.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's my favorite line, by the way. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
I have no idea how. We'll figure it out.
I say that a lot. I say
me too.
We'll figure it out, and it is what it is.
So we'll figure out how to end this podcast.
I think so. I want to just again publicly thank Pastor Dan and his team, and Karen, Pastor Dan. They're just the hour. No one really fully understands the countless hours that a large number of people spend, and they do it all for the people that are listening and the people that do it for the Lord, but they do it so people can hear the gospel. So it's a labor of love for sure.
Like you just kill yourself for something you love, and that's something you believe in. So but that's great. I appreciate that. Thank you.
It's worth it all.
So wherever you've tuned into this podcast at, whether you're on YouTube, we're on YouTube now. Did you know that? Hey, YouTube, Vimeo.
I did.
Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. What a
so many places.
Wherever you're tuning in from us, we want to thank you for being with us on this wild journey that we're on. So you can subscribe, you can like, you can share, whatever is the appropriate context for wherever you're tuning in. We'd love to hear from you as well. You can email us at lifestylefaith@CLACamphill.com. You can email us your questions if you want to talk about CW, if you want to talk about drama ministry. We'll forward all of those on to Pastor Dan. He can respond accurately. I could throw some stuff out there, It may not be accurate, but we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
So for now, I'm Pastor Scott.
Pastor Shane.
Pastor Dan.
We'll see you next time.
Thanks.